Manuel here, Coach Moose, Whole Life Manifesto. Wow, amazing. Nutrition, I touch down on it quite often. I know that a lot of you within the community and those that connect with me, you have a lot of questions that relates to nutrition. You'll notice that on my blog, I've referenced lots of different books, lots of my own personal experiences with different ways of eating, because that's really what diet boils down to. It is not what the media hypes up, which portrays the term diet more as weight loss and that whole idea of reducing body fat. To me, diet's a way of sustaining life. It's what the definition really comes down to. It's our way of nourishing our body to live. I'm someone that's not necessarily a foodie. My wife will attest to that. I wolf down my food. I rarely taste it. I'm not someone that lives to eat, but rather I eat to live. And my foodie friends, we get into great debates over this, but trust me, I can appreciate a good tasting meal. To touch down on nutrition, I want to share with you a little bit of my own personal journey. And a number of years ago, I was introduced to the paleo diet. And I was actually introduced to it through someone by the name of Rob Wolf and Lauren Cordain. And Lauren Cordain started writing about the paleo diet, oh gosh, I don't know, 30, 35, 40 years ago. Rob Wolf is very well known in the fitness community, and he's really quite a leader. And when he came out with this book, Paleo Solution, I was introduced to it, started researching it, because I had always been riddled with certain autoimmune issues, inflammation issues, whether pitting edema, which is like a swelling of the joints. In particular, I had it in my lower legs, and it was relative to various food allergies and just a few other things. Also, I have asthma, and there are certain foods that affect my asthma quite aggressively, actually, so I'd be using my inhalers a lot more than normal. Because asthma really is just an inflammation issue as well. And then most recently, a number of years ago, I was hospitalized after competing, or participating, I should say. It's not a competition, but I was participating in a Tough Mudder, and I got a scrape on my leg, and it was more so my thighs chafing, as you all know, and it's a running joke, pardon the pun, but I'm not a big runner. I'm bigger. I run, but I wouldn't call it running, okay? I call it moving my feet or falling with grace. And so that being said, my thighs tend to rub a lot when I run, and I got a rash, and this rash became infected, and I was hospitalized for almost a whole week. I got quite sick, had a fever, a lot of pain, and it was interesting, but they had to put me on an IV drip, and after a series of testing, we found out that I have a very serious autoimmune disorder, which is called autoimmune neutropenia. My own immune system attacks what's called neutrophils. It's what helps neutralize bacteria in your body. Why am I telling you all this? Well, I'm telling you all this because I've had to make choices that was best for my health. How often do we make choices that are best for our health, but then we don't stick to it? And why does that happen? Well, that's getting into a whole nother conversation, and that's not the focus of this talk. This talk, I want to just say that I've been able to control and mitigate some of the symptoms that are associated with these issues that I have, just based on the choices I make with what I put in my mouth daily. You can too. You quite literally can. It all starts with just making a choice and starting to limit some of the foods that we intake. You notice how I didn't say cut it out? I just said limit the intake. I'm not about telling you what not to eat and what to eat, but I will encourage you to experiment and to try new foods, new ways of eating, to find what works best for you. I really love Chris Kresser's got a new book out. Chris Kresser has a fantastic blog. I highly recommend it. Just search out his name and you'll find it. He just came out with this, The Paleo Cure, and he's a naturopathic doctor and just really on the forefront. And after years and years and years of running a very, very successful practice, has come out with a lot of teachings and a lot of white papers and just quite frankly proof on the ways that the paleo diet, which is largely based on eating meats, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and good fats. It's really just anything that doesn't come in a box. And when you look at this, it has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties to it. So it actually reduces inflammation in the body. So a lot of the complications that we face in our health today is directly tied to inflammation issues. Definitely worth the read and checking out. Also, most recently, in January, my wife, Christy, and I, along with our 2 kids, Chardonnay and Brie, 9 and 11, we completed Diane Sanfilippo's, I'm not pronouncing the name right, but it's called the 21-Day Sugar Detox. Now, she's got a series of books out there. I love them. One of them is a cookbook. The other one is the actual sugar detox. You'll be very surprised, but my sugar addiction stems from when I was 3 years old. And I was out with one of my mom's best friends at the time. My mom had to go off to a shop. We were in a mall. I was in the kids area. Had this big boat that was there for the kids to play on. I was running around doing my thing. And then I had to take a break. My mom was in the other store. I went up to her best friend. Her best friend said, "Oh, hey, Di, how are you doing?" Gave me a red Smartie. A red Smartie. And that was it. The rest was history. I was hooked. And some of you know my story. You know, from the age of 9 to 14, I was morbidly obese. And it wasn't just based on the food choices. It was also just my daily commitment to my rituals that were, quite frankly, just bad habits. Me not moving, eating too much, and weight was put on. But I ate a lot of sugar, a lot of refined sugars like carbohydrates. So the 21-Day Sugar Detox was a good opportunity for my wife and I to go through a process of limiting sugar intake. You'd be very surprised when you start to educate yourself on what sugars are, and when you can learn how to read labels, that sugars sometimes come in different forms with different names, and food companies are very, very tricky. So you have to start to teach yourself and educate yourself on other forms of sugar and how it might get into your diet. So the 21-Day Sugar Detox, it can be very aggressive, or it can be very, very easy. And when I say aggressive is if you wanted to go rip a Band-Aid off and do a complete 180 from a lifestyle and diet perspective, they have that path for you to follow. Otherwise, they also have a very soft intake where you just start to limit your intake per day, and then you slowly wean yourself off. Anyways, great program. I love it. Great little online community. It complements what we're doing very well. I'll provide a link for that too. And then lastly, just real quickly here, you'll notice I keep going back to paleo. It's just what's worked for me. It's worked for a lot of my clients. And I'm not saying go 100% paleo, but if you started to introduce even daily 1 or 2 meals that were more paleo friendly, you'll find that the inflammation in your body will reduce. And in reducing inflammation in your body, you're going to start to see some serious health changes, both from energy, how you handle stress, how you sleep, weight loss, less water retention. I could go on and on, but I'm not here to sell you on it. But I am here to encourage you that maybe it might be an option for you to incorporate while you're doing the Whole Life Manifesto, and just to see how it goes. You know, these are 2 great books for cookbooks. Make It Paleo, okay, and then the other one is Paleo Comfort Foods. Rock on. Okay, I know I said at the beginning that I'm not a foodie. But one cool thing is there's some great cooks out there, and they are fantastic at taking a complete meal that you would have normally thought is no way it could ever be made paleo, and they make it paleo. There's even ways to make cakes and cheesecakes. I know technically you're not supposed to have dairy on paleo, but they've got workarounds, in particular using coconut milk. And you can make a great tasting cheesecake. Now again, I'm not saying go eat the whole pie, right? I'm talking about moderation here, people. But you can make healthy dishes that you can enjoy and taste great for the foodie in you. And meanwhile, it will still adhere to a diet that will support the lifestyle that you want to lead in the next 50, 60, 70 for the rest of your life. Make sense? I think it does. Hey, if I've got anything that I've missed, or you have things that have worked really well for yourself to support the lifestyle that you're leading, share it, comment below this video, comment in our forum or in our groups, and message me. I'd love to include it and share it. Thanks a lot. Remember, keep having fun with this. This is a lifestyle. This is not just about 30 days. This is everything. This is life.